What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about the biggest gaming news in years, maybe. Microsoft buying out Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. We'll also be discussing how this affects Call of Duty moving forward and the exclusivity. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And in case you guys haven't noticed from the sound of my voice, I am currently recovering from a really bad flu, which is why I didn't cover this news sooner this morning. I was sound asleep, but 1 week ago, as you guys might remember, Phil Spencer does say, and I quote, "We've changed how we do certain things with Activision," but then all of a sudden today, he announces that they're actually buying Activision Blizzard altogether. So technically his statement was correct. They have changed how they are doing certain things with Activision by just buying them out. So as you guys may have seen earlier this morning, the press broke the news that Microsoft is planning on purchasing Activision, which means Xbox will officially own Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, Candy Crush, etc. But if the deal does go through, it wouldn't take effect until June of 2023, which is a bit away. The White House said they are looking into the deal as both the FTC and DOJ will be reviewing it, but also don't forget, Activision and Microsoft are both public companies in the stock market, so of course, a deal this big for $70 billion has to be reviewed. This happened many times before with other major acquisitions, such as Disney acquiring Fox, I think even the one with Microsoft and Bethesda. All of this has to be reviewed by Congress. But no, Joe Biden won't be the reason this deal doesn't go through if for some reason this all falls apart in the next year. So we'll have to wait and see if this does get approval, but as I will point out, it's being said that multiple lawyers and analysts believe this Microsoft and Activision buyout will be a heated debate between Congress and DOJ, as Microsoft is technically monopolizing the gaming industry, so it's unclear how this is going to play out over the next year and a half, but I'm very interested in this. So before we continue with some other major bombshells, let's go ahead and thank the sponsor of today's video.
Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Manscaped. I'm sure you've all heard of these legends by now, but they've kindly hooked me up with the Performance Package Kit. And we have a variety of products here, including the Lawnmower 3.0, the waterproof body trimmer that's built with advanced skin-safe technology, and we also have the electric waterproof ear and nose trimmer with a 360 rotary dual blade system. Manscaped also came in clutch with specialized deodorant, toner, and lotion for your friends down there. They were also kind enough to send the Shears 2.0 kit featuring some necessities for everyday hygiene. Now, for a limited time, customers will also receive 2 special gifts: the Sleek Shed travel bag and the High Performance Boxer briefs. So if you're ready to take care of your friends down there like you never have before, be sure to use a special link down below in the description to check out Manscaped, and be sure to use code DYNAMITE to save 20% off your order. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring tonight's video.
Now back to the video, you guys may have noticed that Activision stock is actually up astronomically, essentially erasing all the damage that was done following the big lawsuits and sexual allegations from a couple of months ago. So it's like it never happened. And that's the weird thing, right? Let me know in the comments if you guys had bought any Activision shares as of recently when it dipped tremendously. Now, Bobby Kotick did say in both an email and phone call that Microsoft reached out to him about acquiring the company but did not specify when talks had begun. So I wonder if Microsoft had any interest in buying them before Activision's reputation started to fall tragically over the past couple of months. I'm wondering if they would have felt the same about them if that lawsuit never had gotten announced, if the allegations didn't exist. I wonder if they would have said, maybe like the Bethesda deal, we could benefit a lot with Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Series X, and then future Xbox consoles by acquiring the Activision Blizzard IPs. I'm really interested if that was the case or not, but here's the thing, right? We got an announcement today from another insider that more gaming news is on the way. If you guys thought that this announcement was the news of the week or news of the day, then stay tuned. And when I hear that, I'm like, okay, is this something dealing with Sony or Nintendo? Those are the 2 other big publishers that I believe would come out with some news that's as equal to this Microsoft Activision acquisition. So I personally think this could be Sony acquiring Rockstar. You might not like the sound of that, but that could inevitably make Grand Theft Auto 6 exclusive to the PlayStation. But we're going to talk about Call of Duty being exclusive to Xbox, and if that's even possible, but that could be Sony playing their hand to say, okay, how do we keep up with Microsoft's big acquisition? How do we compete with that? And I think that's their best bet, but we'll have to wait and see what this other announcement is. I'll keep you guys posted in another video this week. And I get it, monopolies are scary, I completely agree with that, but I think in this particular case, this may, and I could be wrong, I'll gladly correct myself later in the future, but this may be the best case scenario for Activision and Call of Duty specifically specifically moving forward over the next couple of years. So the big elephant in the room is Call of Duty, of course, right? I'm a Call of Duty channel, I do this full time, so I'm sure you guys are like, wait, DK, does this mean Call of Duty will remain a multi-platform series, or is this an easy way for Microsoft to say, okay, Call of Duty is now exclusive to Xbox Series X and S, and then Xbox Game Pass if you're on the PC? This would somehow cut off PlayStation from the Call of Duty player base. Now, if you ask me what I think about this, I don't think that route makes any sense, and the reason why is because if Call of Duty is continuously the best-selling game every single year, despite Vanguard being at an all-time low, despite that game being the worst performing COD in 14 years, it was still the #1 game of 2021. Cold War and Vanguard, yes, I think that was obvious, but wouldn't Microsoft actually be losing money if they cut off PlayStation from the Call of Duty franchise? Because once they own Activision, all the sales that Call of Duty gets through a PlayStation 5 or even a PlayStation 4 would all go to Microsoft anyway, so why would they cut off such a big stream of revenue just for the sake of making the game exclusive to the Xbox? Well, here's the thing. Jeff Grubb ended up playing devil's advocate about this, where he said, okay, fine, I'll do the damn discourse. This is a gaming insider, by the way. Warzone will remain multi-platform, but I think main Call of Duty games go exclusive. Microsoft already ran the numbers on every scenario with Bethesda, and it determined exclusivity to Game Pass is the best way to drive its goals. It treats the money it loses from PlayStation sales as an investment / marketing cost to promote the Game Pass. I'm just basing this on Microsoft's own research, but I suppose the proper COD games are servicey enough that they change the variables. I don't know, this is weird. And you know, I'm going to disagree with Jeff here, because the thing is, Activision Blizzard is not Bethesda, and Bethesda doesn't have that yearly Call of Duty cash cow that Activision does. So if anything, the variables would be drastically different in this case when comparing the acquisition of Activision to Bethesda, which already went through a little while back. And the thing is, if a majority of the player base for Call of Duty is on PlayStation, which I believe is the case, and again, this is not to incite a console war, I can give two shits about that, I already talked about that in a previous video, then does it even make sense to take a big loss in sales just for the hope that it'll generate more traffic to Xbox consoles or even the Game Pass? I personally don't think so. But I think the moral of the story here is that none of us actually know what this is gonna look like. I mean, hey, they could say right now COD will remain multi-platform, but that could change once the deal finalizes and maybe they run more numbers after the release of MW2 later this fall, and then they start looking at pre-order sales for COD 2023. Microsoft could change trajectory and say, okay, at the last minute, we're gonna just make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox. That could very easily happen, but another thing here is exclusivity. Assuming that Call of Duty remains multi-platform, it may not. If it does though, does this mean the end of PlayStation exclusivity for the COD series, with things such as Survival from Modern Warfare, Onslaught from Cold War, the little XP events that are in Vanguard, even the PS Plus bundles? Would all of that seemingly go away after Microsoft acquires Activision? Probably, unless Microsoft has any inclination to work with Sony to continue promoting Call of Duty on PlayStation. I highly doubt that'll be the case, but I believe things like that will either end with COD 2023, Treyarch's next game, or the title that comes out after that. In a perfect world though, this acquisition could mean the end of exclusivity altogether, so that going forward, everything releases at the same time for all games, and I think realistically they'll probably do something where maybe the new COD game comes out in the fall as usual, and you could play it a day or two early if you get it through Game Pass. Nothing more than that though, where it's like a game mode or some big DLC, maybe something similar to the PS Plus bundles or little XP events, where instead of doing that through PlayStation, you can then download the game through Xbox Game Pass and gain access to those little cosmetics and little bonuses, which aren't really game changing. To me, that would be fair. I think that's the best case scenario without significantly impacting other platforms that support Call of Duty. Now, allow me to calm you guys down a little bit if you were panicking after the announcement today. We have Bloomberg sources who claim that Microsoft plans to make some Activision games for PlayStation still, while others will be exclusive to Xbox and PC. So we could safely assume right now Call of Duty will be one of those games still available on PlayStation. It wouldn't really make sense if they went exclusive, in my personal opinion, but you can disagree with that down below in the comments. It would be super weird if for some reason Warzone continues to be multi-platform as free-to-play, but the main series with campaign, multiplayer zombies becomes exclusive to Xbox Game Pass. That would be strange. I saw some theories suggesting the campaign could be Xbox exclusive, but then make multiplayer and zombies free-to-play on all platforms. Maybe that would work. I really don't know, but I saw other sources and other articles out there claiming that a $70 billion deal for Activision probably means Call of Duty is going to the Xbox only. But like I said, with the sales Call of Duty brings in every year, Microsoft can make, I think at least, a lot more money keeping it multi-platform than not. So taking a look at all the Xbox first-party studios, looking at Call of Duty specifically, we have Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Raven, Toys for Bob, Beanox, Demonware, and High Moon Studios, right? That's not taking into account the other developers that work on other Activision IPs, but this is for Call of Duty. So that'll be crazy to think that it will be booting up a new Black Ops game in a couple of years, and we'll see the Xbox Game Studio logo upon startup. I mean, that's crazy to think about, in my opinion. But here's the thing as well. I'm planning on getting a beefy PC really soon, probably even this month, and I've always said this, like I said in my previous video, console wars are stupid. Who cares what piece of plastic you play on? At this point, it's not even about the console, it's about what games you like to play. But either way, so many of these games are all on PC anyway, so if anything, PC is the best bet. And this is definitely scary news for people out there who don't want to or can't afford a new Xbox or PC. I totally get that, but think about maybe a couple of years from now, seeing the Game Pass, which could be $1 a month, and seeing the opportunity to play Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 3 with all DLC included just for that small price on your Xbox or on your PC. That's a cool deal that maybe PlayStation won't have, but maybe this makes up for the past, 7 years that PlayStation has had some type of COD exclusivity? I guess you could say that. But I think most content creators will tell you they've either already moved on to PC and don't really play on consoles anymore, or like me, I would just plan on going PC only with Treyarch's next game if somehow the Xbox acquisition impacts how you play the game, or how early you can play it, or what DLC is offered for it, or if it's exclusive. I mean, I'll still play on my consoles for sure, but when it comes to Call of Duty, which is what I cover full-time here on the channel, I'll probably just move to PC full-time in the next year and a half. That's probably what'll happen. But now let's talk about the Bobby Kotick. So the Wall Street Journal does report that Activision's longtime CEO is expected to leave after Microsoft's deal to buy the video game maker closes in June of 2023. So keep in mind, that's give or take. It could be even sooner than June 2023, or even a bit later. We don't know how Congress is going to react to this new acquisition. They could significantly delay it. They could approve it right away. We're not sure what this means, but I think even Charlie Intel pointed out that Bobby Kotick has a golden parachute here. So this is a quote-unquote everyone wins type scenario. So he'll be getting a $250 million payout minimum if the deal says, okay, Bobby, you gotta go. You know, Xbox now owns Call of Duty and Activision, you gotta go. $250 million minimum. And this isn't a really tough call though, because do you want him gone with the guaranteed payout, or do you want him to stay with the guaranteed payout? Because he's making a buckload of cash regardless, but maybe he's making a little bit more by being forced out. But I think long term, even though it sucks, he's gonna be given this money, long term, it's probably the best move for all Activision IPs to have kind of fresh blood running all the developers, having everybody report to Phil Spencer instead of Bobby Kotick. I think either way, it's a win-win for Bobby, but for us as consumers and for the developers who work on our favorite games, it's gonna be a win once he's out anyway. But let me know how you're feeling about that down below in the comments. Now, Jason Schreier put out some great coverage about this bombshell as of today, and the thing is, he makes it really clear that Bobby Kotick definitely cares about appearances, trying to make it seem like this deal was gonna happen anyway, even if the Blizzard lawsuit didn't happen, even if there wasn't any sexual misconduct. And I think we all know the truth behind that. You know, if he wants to go out and say, oh, well, Overwatch 2 hasn't happened, Diablo 4 got delayed, COD had a bit of an off year because of Vanguard, so we saw now as a good opportunity to have Xbox acquire us so that we could take our franchises to the next level. I mean, he can run with that narrative, but I think everybody knows what's really going on here, and it's truly disgusting that we've been gotten to this point where it was kind of a double-edged sword. You have Bobby stay on and he makes his money, or he leaves and takes his money with him. It really sucks to talk about that, but it's crazy how Kotick initially didn't want to sell, according to another person familiar with the talks, and also put the word out to see if any other company would outbid Microsoft, somehow paying more than $70 billion. I mean, what other company would likely do that? I can't think of very many. But as the article says here, at that point, Kotick had little leverage with his board amid the ongoing public scrutiny at his company. So you guys take that as you may. I think this is horrific, but I think it's still a step in the right direction so that we can see our developers and higher ups and the good people that still work behind the scenes, they can now have a smoother work environment come this acquisition. Either way, this is going to be huge for the Call of Duty scene, but don't forget, we're not going to really see the impact of this acquisition acquisition until at least after the release of Treyarch's next game. I could be mistaken though, maybe the acquisition goes through sooner than expected and we start seeing the impacts of this Xbox deal with Treyarch's new Black Ops, sure. But we could possibly see a revival of MLG, which they'll now own, right? The competitive scene could change drastically. Maybe that's a good thing. They'll also own Battlenet, so who knows what that means for type of Game Pass merge or an integration of sorts. We could just hope that we don't end up seeing tweets and a bunch of comments a couple years from now which say, oh, it was so much better when Activision owned everything. Because we saw that with Destiny, but that was a little bit different, of course, where just Bungie stepped away from Activision entirely and handled Destiny on their own. And at first it was rough, but they've gotten things back on track as of recently. But I don't want to see those comments like we had with Destiny where everyone's like, oh, it was so much better when Activision ran things, Microsoft doesn't know what they're doing, Xbox is terrible, Sony pony. I hope we don't end up seeing stuff like that, but overall, like Doug said with Modern Warzone, maybe this could open up the opportunity for the COD partner program eventually, where it's not this real celebrity driven system, and instead they start looking at creators that do cover the franchise full time and put in the work and maybe meet some certain requirements, and boom, they could be let into whatever the program is. Things could ease up a little bit to where you don't have out of touch individuals running some of these companies, running these departments. You have people that actually care about the community and care about the franchises going in and, you know, paving the way forward for the series. Now I want to end this video off by entertaining the idea of seeing some type of Microsoft IP cross over with the Call of Duty franchise, whether it's through a skin, whether it's through a cosmetic, a bundle, a reference, whatever the case is. We're talking a Master Chief skin or a Steve from Minecraft reference, something of that nature. I think we're fairly far away from seeing something like that, and I'll give you a brief example of how this works. It's not exactly the same thing, but remember when Disney got the rights back to the Netflix properties such as Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage? It still took them a little while before inserting them into an MCU project of sorts. It took a while before we saw Matt Murdock in No Way Home, and it took a while before we saw Wilson Fisk pop up in Hawkeye. So even when they have the ability to insert these characters wherever they want, it still may take a while before they find the right fit for where they want to put them. Hopefully that makes sense, but I think if we ever saw a futuristic Call of Duty again, without a doubt, we would see a major Halo crossover, which would be great because like I mentioned in previous videos, Fortnite is really killing it with the crossovers, and it would be cool to see Call of Duty be somewhere on par with that in the future where they do meaningful crossovers. I think for a game like Vanguard, what doesn't make more sense than doing some World War II era bundles for Captain America or Indiana Jones, which were rumored in the past by a couple of scoopers, but stuff like that, you see what I mean? It would work so well for the Call of Duty franchise to at least keep up with how other games are doing their crossovers. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on what is easily the biggest gaming news in a long time? Right? How are you feeling about a $70 billion acquisition? Will it even get passed through Congress? And also, how are you feeling about Call of Duty exclusivity? Should it go straight to Xbox or should it remain multi-platform? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.